Hello, welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm telling the story about this motorcycle. I've had this motorcycle since 2008. Now, 2008 was special because the gas prices went insane. And at the time, I was working for the carnival, believe it or not. My job at the carnival was the Ferris wheel. I wasn't your normal carny. I was worked at the shop, and I stayed in hotels, not in little things, right? And I pretty much was like worked with the engineers and stuff on the machines. I rebuilt one of the machines, remodeled it. So those were the types of things I was doing for the carnival. So I was working there for a while on the off season, or actually the end of the one season and then the off season, so I was in the shop. Then the season started to begin again, and I was going on the road with the Ferris wheel. So the situation was I was either going to be riding along with this guy, or I'd be driving my car. I had a Volvo at the time. And I did the math, and I just literally could not afford the gas to drive the Volvo, right? So this comes into the situation, right? Well, I was trying to buy a Harley off Craigslist. I had two Harleys before I got busted. I got busted, and they got both seized, right? Totally other story. So I kind of wanted another Harley, right? Well, the guy sold it before I could get the money together. Then this thing was available, and it was like a motorcycle apocalypse at the time. There was literally like hardly any motorcycles for sale, or they were dealers that had marked them up so high they were just like ridiculous. So I found this thing, and it looked nothing like what it looks like now. And I believe it was $3,500, right? Now, the guy that sold it to me, he said, oh yeah, it just needs a little bit to get it going, right? And I'm not a mechanic. So I found a mechanic on Craigslist, and he told me, oh yeah, I totally can get it running, blah, blah, blah. So he literally went with me to go buy the motorcycle, right? And it was like, oh yeah, right? So I paid $3,500 for the motorcycle, and then sent it to this guy's shop. The problems that started, the excuses. So he didn't even have his own shop. The motorcycle needed a lot more work than $1,000 that was said by the guy that sold it to me. And now this guy had the bike at this dude's shop, like way up in Washington, like up in Washington, quite a distance, right? So the bike never got done. Now I was ready. I was like, I had to go on the road with the Ferris wheel. So now have spent all the money on the motorcycle, and I'm in the truck with the guy. It literally lasted one trip. And I was just like, I don't want to put up with Ferris wheel people anymore. So, we got into an argument. He wanted to fight. I was on probation. I would have smoked the dude in 2 seconds, but that would have been jail. So, needless to say, poof, there goes my job now. So I've got this motorcycle sitting at a shop up north of Vancouver, and I live in Portland, and I'm really not making any money. But now I'm driving to the shop, spending the gas money, like so often. I feel like it might have been even like once a week there for a while, right? And I'd go there, and there'd be some weird dudes like welding on it. And it was just, nothing was getting done. And what was getting done was like looking like some amateur work, right? And so this went on for quite a while. The guy had it there at his shop, and he just wanted this. The guy that originally set it up, he just disappeared. Just left the bike at the shop and never answered another text. The guy that owned the shop now, which was just this greasy biker dude, he was now like, oh, you owe me all this money. I'm like, where's the work you did for all that money? Like, what exactly did you do? I mean, I got this seat from him, right? But I paid for it. So he was a pretty crazy person. After dealing with him for, I want to say like 6 months, I finally just rented a U-Haul and went up to get my motorcycle, right? And I don't really remember how the situation had gone, but I had gone up there previously and nobody was there. And maybe I was going up there to give them some money or something, and they're just like, oh, get in the door and leave it here. I think that was what happened, right? So I knew how to get into the shop, which was kind of sketchy. But, you know, and so I felt like I had paid all the money that I needed to pay for the work that I gotten done on the bike, right? Because this guy wasn't getting the money that I paid the other guy. So this was the problem. Like, I had given this guy money, and it ended up at this guy's shop, and I'm like, this guy owes you money. I gave the money to him. My deal was with him. He left it at your shop, right? It was the biggest nightmare ever, right? But I then had started paying the dude for the new work anyway, right? So all the work that he had done without the other guy there, he had gotten paid for, right? So he was, and I honestly think he was just making a kind of an attempt to just get free money, because mechanics are notorious for that. So I go to pick it up in the U-Haul, and I'm loading the motorcycle in the shop. Somebody's there. They're calling this guy and saying, you know, he's here picking it up and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, man, I'm just taking my bike. So the guy is in his borrowed V10 Dodge pickup truck. He rams the front of the U-Haul truck. I mean, I'm in the back of the U-Haul truck securing the bike. I had just secured it, and all of a sudden it was just kaboom. Whoa. And I go out and I'm just like, what? And this dude's, I'm like, you know, it's time to go, you know, but I'm 6'4", right? Like, I've been attacked plenty, but typically it's drunk people not thinking too straight, and it never works out for them. So this guy, and now, like, you know, I'm on probation, and, you know, I can't even have a knife, I think, right? But, you know, not that I need it, but there's two of these guys, and one of them just rammed my truck. I don't know if they have guns, what's going on. But basically, that was it. He just rammed me and was doing a bunch of yelling, and he totaled the truck. Like, the truck was totaled. The total that it cost me at the U-Haul place was like $500. He hit the U-Haul like exactly right. So here's the U-Haul, right? Here's the front corner of the U-Haul. He hit the pickup truck like perfectly right in the center of the pickup truck, perfectly on like the corner. I mean, big U-Haul bumper, man. He literally totaled the pickup truck, right? And it wasn't his pickup truck, right? Okay, so I get the motorcycle back, and now it's just sitting somewhere. And this is like 2008, right? So, and now, like, some time goes by, and I've got this friend that gets this house that's huge and has a giant shop, and he's like, yeah, I want to start, you know, restoring stuff. And I'm like, here you go. Another guy gave him a car, right? Well, like, he wasn't in that position to just start working on things, right? So it just sat there, and he'd do things. He, like, went out and bought all new something for it. he never put it on. Oh, all new nuts and bolts. He showed me them. He goes, oh yeah, I went through and bought all. And I never asked him to do that, but he just bought them. But then he took them back. So it was kind of weird. But it was at this shop-ish thing for a couple years until he had a falling out with his landlord, and his landlord knocked the bike over in an argument, bending the handlebars, right? So I get the bike back from him after a couple years maybe, and it's in actually worse condition now, right, than it was. Okay, so now, and this evolved, and I used to have pictures of it all, but I had a fire a couple years ago and lost everything. So I don't have all the pictures of the evolution of the bike, right? So at that point, I was just kind of like, well, this is just a pain in the butt. Years have gone by, and I just want to sell it. So I post on Craigslist, and I kind of told the story on Craigslist up to that point. So this kid gets a hold of me that lives up in the West Hills of Portland, and he's like, man, this is what makes me pissed off about mechanics and, blah, 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 and, man, I'll fix that bike for you for free. And I'm just like, I don't let anybody do anything for me for free, but, I'll let the kid, let's see what the kid can do, I mean, shit. Fine. I had it listed for like $2,500. I could, not get $2,500, and this kid can. So the kid goes to work on it, right? And he puts new handlebar stuff. He fixes all that, I think, and then he does a bunch of work to the bike. I think he rebuilt the carburetors and put on those things, and I think he got the pipes welded on there. And the electric ignition, that's an upgrade. So the kid did a lot of work to it, and I paid him for all of it, right? And so he got it to the point where it could be ridden. He rode it, I think, once, scared the shit out of himself, and basically was like, yeah, you need to, I think he was like, you need to get disc brakes on this thing, because it has drum brakes, right? And it didn't have front brakes when I got it. I bought that drum hub, and somebody put that. I think the kid put that on too, right? So at that point, I had the motorcycle back, and now it just sat for years. And I had these really cool mirrors on it that were like, I bought the mirrors at some motorcycle, scrapyard type of place, right? And I had to get the glass put back in them, right? They were up here like this, right? So the bike still needed just a little bit of TLC to actually just get it up and running, right? So I took it to this shop that was really close to my house at the time, that I don't remember the name of the shop, but it's like a motorcycle. It was like a motorcycle salvage / shop, and I think what they did was they just stopped me in a shop, because I took the bike to them. It sat there a year, over a year, and when I got it back, it was missing the headlights, or the rear view mirrors, okay? So at that point, I called them and was like, hey, where's my mirrors? Where's my mirrors, right? And they literally had charged me $130. I was in the process of moving, and I didn't have anywhere to put the bike. I go, I need to leave it there for another month. It had already been there for a year, but it was done. But it wasn't even rideable, and that was the whole deal. I took it to the shop, and I was like, I was supposed to be able to ride it out of there. Nope. They gave me all these excuses, charged me over $1,000, stole the mirrors, and here we are today. So at this point, from all the different expenses, which initially I borrowed like the 3,500 plus the 1,000 that it was supposed to be. So I think maybe even I had gotten like an even 5,000. I had borrowed that from a girlfriend, which had got it off her credit card, and the money that I was supposed to be making over that time, over the season, I was supposed to be able to pay that off no problem. Well, needless to say, nothing really worked out that way. So I was actually broken up with the girlfriend and still making the payments on the stupid credit card for, I don't know, it took getting a settlement because I got hit by a car on my bicycle. And it took that settlement money to finally get out from underneath that credit card payment. But all said and done, I think I've got like $26,000 into this motorcycle, and I have never ridden it once. So this is now, I just dug it out. It's looking worse than ever. It's got rust all over it, which I don't know how it but yeah, it's looking pretty rough right now. And so I think I'm going to put it up for sale. So I wanted to make a video about this because, oh boy, was this a wild ride. And it's such a giant exclamation point on just like why it's such a, like the original guy that sold it to me lied to me. The mechanic that I got to work on an issue lied to me. The next guy, he was basically just like lying and ripping me off, right? Then my other buddy, I mean, it's not like he lied. He just never did anything. Like he wanted to be a mechanic. He wanted to restore things. But then like that, he's not even my friend anymore after that whole situation. It's not like we were ever good friends. We worked security together. So it was like we were, you know, acquaintances, friendly acquaintances, you know. So then the kid did, you know, the kid was the only honest actor in this whole thing, and he still wasn't even able to get it to the point where, you know, you could just get on it, turn the key, kick it, or whatever, however you get it to start. I don't even remember if it starts with just turning the key or if you have to kickstart it regardless every time. That might be the case. I don't know if it has electric start or not. I can't remember. It's been so long. I mean, it's 2022 right now. I got this thing in 2008. The last time I registered it was 2011. It was like 11 years ago that I even tried to do anything with this motorcycle, right? Well, no, I mean as far as registration. Because it sat in the shop. I got it out of the shop, I want to say maybe 2018. 2018 I got it out of the shop. So, yeah. It's really, you know, like, mechanic people. It's a very frustrating industry. So anyway, if you like this video, you should subscribe because I'm going to tell the story of my pickup truck here pretty soon. And boy, there's a doozy as well. So have a great day. Peace.